Ruler School is brought to you by Odyssey Games, where you can go to pre-order upcoming Force of Will sets, ccgprime.com for singles and supplies, cardodoko.com for those rulers in the international market looking for product, as well as our guest lecturer members Vite Ramen and Full Grammar Alchemist. Class is in session. Hey there, rulers. Welcome back after a long week of Force of Will, and Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, and all that. It's your favorite ever live Force of Will podcast, Office Hours, and it's just me. It's just me tonight, DMO73. Paul and Mike are stepping out for the week. Probably not going to have a podcast next week as we go to New Year's, but I'm here. We didn't want to miss out because of the announcement of the ban list, and we figured, hey, let's have some fun and build a deck. I'll try my hand at a deck building stream, kind of like Paul did while I was at Worlds. So if you like what we're doing, want to consider supporting the channel, you can click that join button down below. Also, let me know if the music is like too loud. I have some music going for myself to kind of fill the space because it's just me. But if the music's too loud for you guys, I can obviously make some changes there. Just let me know, and we're gonna jump into it. So band and combination ban list dropped on Thursday. I want to say it was Thursday night. Kind of just the article went into the fact of, as it has been in the past, there has been a lot of the post-Worlds ban list has kind of always been seen as very minimal changes, kind of allowing people going into the off-season to have as much fun and openness as they want. So a lot of very minor tweaks. We obviously had a wish list of things that we thought were pretty obvious and wanted to see happen, but they're letting people have some more fun with it than that. Especially, they seem to be keeping all of the Worlds decks essentially full power for people who want to try the deck lists from Worlds out at full power in their group. So we're jumping into it here. We're just going to go over it. We have the Wall of Wind, no longer banned. Horn of Sacred Beasts and Zhenwu Dragonborn Lord are combo banned. And Bloody Moon and Fleeting Moon Jewel are no longer combo banned. So Wall of Wind, this is a card that honestly probably could have been unbanned a while ago, and they even mentioned it. Like, it's just, there are other green spells that do it better. It just doesn't have as much of an impact. It just doesn't really seem to be doing much. It just really doesn't hold a candle to the power level of that it had that got it on the ban list initially. Like, it was banned like 8 years ago, right? So 8 years worth of power growth really puts it at a level where even if you bring it back right now, it probably just like is fine. Like, it's just another green answer that you can play, but it's not like insanely huge to think about. So pretty makes sense that they want to bring that back. It's actually been kind of a discussion we've had for a while, even within our own group, about we think probably this card can come off the ban list for a bit. Bloody Moon and Fleeting Moon Jewel, all decks that can utilize this interaction exclusively are rarely played. We have a lot more ways to interact with things like Bloody Moon now, and the higher power of Fleeting Moon Jewel plus Bloody Moon to pop special magic stones. We have other stuff that pops special magic stones too, and so like it's not unheard of to just be able to interact with this interaction. So they wanted to just like, we're just gonna uncombo ban it, and that makes sense for me a lot. I think that I don't see a problem with this coming back. It also weirdly puts Solo Seer as a deck that you can kind of experiment with, because you can't play Seer and her Sub-Ruler with her playing Tag, but you can play Seer and her Sub-Ruler together without playing Tag. So this gives her kind of a new tool to be able to play around in that space with Solo Seer. I think that's very neat. Solo Mode Seer is kind of cool. Chef's Tears. Lave can come off the ban list too. Chef's Tears can come back too, please. No to both of those. Lave can't come back and Chef's Tears can't come back either. No thank you. And then the last one here, the one that combo man they did do was Bloody Moon, Horn of the Sacred Beast and Zhenwu. We talked about this in our wish list, something related to Zhenwu. Specifically, we talked about Regalia Beast and Zhenwu being combo banned, but they even kind of mentioned this kind of idea of the like infinite combo, kind of like combo elements related to Zhenwu, that they were kind of intending for something like that to be possible. But the infinite and the ease of excessiveness of how fast it can go, and it being as easy as it was, the power cards of these together being able to infinitely loop themselves is where the problem lied in their eyes. So they decided to do combo ban of Horn of the Sacred Beast and Shenwu. I am glad they did something to this. Turn 1 uninteractable like loops of that crazy nature I think are just pretty problematic for game feel, overall game feel. I do think Regalia Beast might have been the better hit to hit there just to prevent the combo in general, but hearing that they want people to try to combo with Shenwu, I guess it makes sense to let them have the line for now. See, Discord gave YouTube the option to use streamer mode now. I don't... Huh? And then we have on the ban list for Paradox updates, we have just 2 changes here. The Eternal Pact with Baroost and Ravidra, and Skulk's Assault Troopers plus Ravidra. So these like insane bonus value that you get from this stone, that when it goes from field to grave, you get to go search for a stone and put it into play recovered. They just thought that for Paradox, this little value engine was a little bit too much. I'm going to say this just for full transparency sake, especially because I'm here by myself podcasting tonight. The discussion with regards to the player bans is not something we're talking about tonight. Those conversations are happening over on the Discord. If you want to have those conversations, go for it over there. Not here, not tonight. And that's all I'm going to say about that. So I'll put an end to it there at that point in time. Eternal Pact with Baroost. This line was already something that I was seeing popping up in people's testing of Paradox format, of like the sheer amount of value that you could generate from these kinds of interactions potentially being problematic. So I'm not surprised that they saw that this combo ban was something they wanted to be proactive about in Paradox. And then Arcana Battle Coliseum updated its ban list. A few things that got mentioned is that I will bring this up here. Yes, Awakening of Grus Ballesta got banned out of ABC. Good. I've been carding to that card banned out of ABC for a long time. Drywing, also fine with the number of ways that we can expel him now. I think it can be pretty toxic. Raging Messiah is fully gone. Ruchil is just now fully gone. Ruchil is just an unplayable ruler. Back in the bindery with you. And then Kushiel, Archangel of Punishment, is all combo banned, is all full banned out of Paradox. They also introduced a new format for Paradox, essentially creating a casual and a competitive version of those. We have ABC Defiance, which is how we've been playing ABC. It is currently kind of designed as the more competitive version of ABC. And then we just have regular ABC, which has higher life totals, higher deck building elements, like you can have more cards, and it allows you to attack anywhere. There's a few other subtle changes that come out with that are designed to make it more of a casual format. But I'm not going to dig into all of those right now. You can go check out the floor rules for ABC as those have been updated. But these bans for our Arcana Battle Coliseum are ones that I'm excited about. ABC and ABCD. Yes, Brent, I almost forgot Baroost is mostly stone destruction. Yeah, exactly. They were like, maybe we don't give him ramp while he's blowing up stones. Even more than he already has. So yeah, it's short. Like, I'm not fully unsurprised that it's such a short ban list. I know that when I had our deck building or our ban list discussion stream last week, Paul and we talked about what we wanted. And this was certainly something that I would have preferred a little bit of a heavier hand on some pretty obvious things like Kushiel and Demon's Blood, but those are played in the World decks, and they want people to play the World decks. So like the theory crafting going into the off season of this makes sense to me. I think it's an off season deck list. It's an off season ban list, and so I think that's what they're going for, and we'll just have to see how that goes. As we build. That does kind of spur on what I want this podcast to be about tonight. Is I want to do Demon's Blood and Confrontation. Confrontation is fine outside of Keurig Lilius. Yeah, that was my thought too. I was like, in Wanderer, I would think that we would do Confrontation with Lilius and Keurig. But again, we're off season. We want people to have as much fun as possible. So letting people have those play lines at least for a few more months. In Wanderer, I mean, I get it. I understand. Because Confrontation itself is just a fine card. It's strong, but it's fine outside of Keurig and Lilius. I did want to talk about real quick while we're here that we did get to see some new promos, which I'm excited about. This is Wu Jia Wu and Silencing Spell. These are very cool Happy New Year promos. Silencing Spell makes a lot of sense because of its reference on Utnafishtum. They like doing a promo that's related to kind of a current card. So that makes a lot of sense given how old Silencing Spell is. And then Wu Jia Wu, Hard Worker, and a Power Suit just looks really nice. And is also a really great reprint to bring into the format as a promo. Yeah, that's also true. Like this does mean that like the players who haven't gotten a chance to play with ATD cards will just be able to get to play with them for a full time span before having to deal with any kind of considerations of what they might be combo banned with or whatever. So I think that also it makes sense given that they're going into off season. Wu does have a little bit updated text. He now instead of saying He actually has the Kernlos clarification here now, which for those of you who weren't there, Kernlos is specifically that you can play this card has no attribute, and you can play this card with Void Will, specifically Void Will, not Will of any color, Void Will, so the gear symbol will. Something's produced by like Crownstone, you can pay for him with this one. Brent, it's off season right now. Does that mean the update with the next set is going to be really heavy handed to account for about 6 months of play? Potentially. I imagine that we will see another actual ban list drop with Masterpiece 3, given things that will rotate out or given what is being reprinted and new card support from that. There are going to be some events, like I know we're hosting a Ruler School Circuit. There's a lot of other places that are hosting Ruler School Circuit. There's some online tournaments. There's some tournaments overseas. Smaller scale, but, still going to have some tournament data plus internal testing. So we'll see. It could be really big. It could be really small. We'll have to see what that ends up being as we go into the competitive season. I will say for definitively the FowFest meta for FowFest, which again is Father's Day weekend in June of 2026, will be Paradox. The main event will be Paradox post MP03, but Evil 3 probably won't have dropped yet. So you'll get like 2.5 months of testing in the Paradox format with Masterpiece 3 to lead into FowFest, which I think will be pretty exciting. Yeah, FowFest main event is going to be Paradox, because the Worlds format next year is going to be Wanderer. So we always kind of alternate back and forth between what's going on with us and what's going on with Worlds. So with that, any other news here from the company? Any other things here? The erratas were all just like clarifications on text, although it did update. Siduri is like part of cost. They just moved where the colon is, that it was supposed to be rest or red and remove 2 battle counters or 2+1/+1s to deal 700. So they just needed to move this to be actually burning counters as part of cost. Everything else is just like clarity's sake, not actually changing how the card functions on those. And then, yeah, we go into deck building. Specifically, I wanted to talk about Misteltein. Just like in general, I wanted to talk about her. This is a ruler that I am excited to play. I'm not quite sure how I want to play her in Paradox, given that really she didn't actually get anything but Gungnir in the set. I mean, any of the regalia stuff and like the light stuff really plays into her, and like in general, it's just a strong color right now for Fow. So she doesn't really know what to do from there, but I thought, hey, you know what? Let's do a deck building stream and kind of talk about it. Maybe we can build something fun that we built for the channel here. So let us know, as we go through here. So let's talk about it. Force Command Faith. Does not matter for the sake of this Paradox format because there's no cards with Force Resonance Faith in Paradox at this time. As the game starts, you get Ambrosia. Probably need to play at least 2, if not 3 Ambrosia, but we'll talk about that in a minute. And Faith whenever things are done here. And then also you have Terrifying, Drain, Barrier, Force Command. You can't play non-will activate abilities of Rulers or J Resonators. If damage would be dealt to you, it's dealt to this card instead. And you get Gungnir or deck and or hand for a card named Gungnir or Holy Sword. We can't play Holy Sword in Paradox. Search it and put a giant card and put it into your field, and there's that God's Art. So if we're looking at her, obviously she's our ruler. Paradox Misty. The Gungnir, 3 cards kind of obviously stand out. Gungnir, probably only need to play 1, if maybe 2. Being a 4-cost quick cast untouchable that like has this God's Art is like okay. Does feel like a 1 of, maybe a 2 of tops in the deck. And then Ishtar is a huge powerhouse that I think you're playing 4 of. I think this is the win con of the deck. I'm going to zoom in here for Ishtar. Let me scroll, please. That's not what I want. There. Ishtar. Quick Cast, Defiant, Drain Barrier. Can play this card from your graveyard by making a chain ruler you control Astral. But it's light, Devil, Priest Resonator tokens, where X is the number of times Resonators have attacked this turn. So the more stuff that attacked, even if it's your opponent's stuff that's attacked, you get a bunch of dudes. And then whenever another Resonator you control attacks, you gain 200 life. And then if she's dead, whenever this card deals battle damage to another player, if your life is 5,000 or more, you win the game. So that's obviously like a win con. Like Palatine's Solitude seems like an emergency button for her to hit life thresholds to do stuff. The other card that I really want to talk about for her is Inanna. This is is it 2 N's? There it is. The Uncorruptible Flower of Descent. I also think this card is a very good card for Misteltein in Paradox. You gain... you pay 1 less to play this card if you control an Astral Ruler or a J Ruler with 6 battle counters on it. So again, it costs 1 white if she's dead. Cards in your hand can't be discarded. Entities can't be banished. As long as you have a high life, she becomes a 12/12. Searches for a glyph card and or a weapon card. Reveal it and put it to your hand and shuffle your deck. Remember, that's and or. So, you know, that's insane. I think you're playing 4 of her almost right out the jump as well. We talked before about Ambrosia. Let's do that. I think you're playing probably 3. Let's go to the card real quick and take a look at it. You get Higher Divinity. That doesn't matter. Calling a Magic Stone does not cause J Rulers you control to rest. Okay, great. At the end of your turn, you gain 200 life. And then this is Faith. You can banish it to heal. I do think this is a card that you're honestly probably playing 3 of it because you want to see it in the opener so much. There's some that just in general feels pretty obvious. And then from there, it's looking at colors. And I think with the stones that we have, additional emeralds can proc astral ability text. Yeah, for sure. I think in the colors we have, I kind of think that white, black, blue is probably our best bet. So, like, let's just start looking at cards. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's a pretty easy way to jump into it. Obviously, glyphs. Am I going to be playing this on Wednesday, or am I be gone for the holidays? I will not be at FowFest on Wednesday. I will not be at, FowFest. I will not be at Odyssey Games on Wednesday. Probably the next 2 weeks, just because of the holidays. It's weird how it all lines up. But I will be back starting on January the 7th. I probably am gonna see about trying to go up to Paul's shop or Dan's shop, CCG Prime in Ionia on Saturdays. Just to be able to, with it being Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, probably not going to end up. There's part of me that wonders if the Fishdom is good in this deck, and then I go, probably not. This deck has been giving me a time trying to make it. D'Angelo. That's very fair, D'Angelo. I think, kind of how we're going, we can flex a few things as we look into it. You know, looking into the pure, if we're going blue, white, black, some notable things come to mind, right? I think Kushiel is, I think, a card that we're definitely playing at least 3 copies of. I think as a white deck, it's just really solid. Puriel, sorry, it's not what she's called. I think we're playing this card in Wanderer as well, because I like Angels, or in Paradox as well. It's an Angel Defiant body, so if we're playing these, awesome Regalia, which I think we're playing at least some of them, it's worth your time to play heavy hitter bodies that can kind of play the act there. I think most of our stuff in this deck doesn't care about cost reduction, so that's nice. So I'm not terribly initially worried about the idea of playing into things like Alabaster or Spirit of the Mirage Ruins. There's things that we can do to kind of mess with that. Board wipes in Wanderer are kind of mid, but we can talk about a few of those potential options there in white, blue, black as well. I think because, so like looking at these, let's look at Durandal real quick. I'm going to look at Mirror Blade as well. And then I also want to look at Nomadic. Just real quick here. So Durandal, Mythic Eternal, gain that much plus 200. Added Resonator gains engaged enraging. Target J Resonator must block this turn if able, and it gains this card can block while rested until end of turn. Drain an Eternal. Added Resonator gains plus 1,000 as long as your life is 3,500 or more. Enter add this card to target Resonator you control. So that seems pretty good. Mirror Blade, if your life is higher, it becomes higher. That seems like an absolute no-brainer. Nomadic Demon Slayers, other entities you control, gain Defiant 2, Eternal, and Barrier as long as your life is 4,000 or more. It has Untouchable, it has Blood Trail. Like, as a 3-drop, I think this card is worth playing like a few copies because it's other entities you control, which means also then your Regalia become incredibly hard to kill, although most of them don't matter. So it's like, but it means that like most of your stuff has that anyway. So I'm not even really sold if Nomadic Demon Slayers is necessary. I'd put it in like maybe as a 2 of, and we'll kind of come back to it. How many Regalia are you playing? I think we're playing probably like 2 and 3. I think Mirror Blade, probably. The other thing is I think we're playing Battle Wolf, right? I think we're playing 4 Battle Wolf. It's a mana dork that has Barrier, and we can slam a moon on it, like a Regalia on it. And then the other card that I'm thinking we definitely are playing Hootriel. Trailbound. The problem with Trailbound Mistress, I get what you're saying, is the Trailbound Mistress here for sure is very good. The issue that I have with Trailbound Mistress is that we have to pay white-red to play her. And there's not, I mean, we can play white-red stones. There's enough of them. Which is also why I'm wondering if we play, like, there's a debate, right, about whether you play white-red or whether you play white-black, like leaning heavier into black. So like that's a legitimate like conversation to have. And the fact that Nomadic Trailbound Mistress, yeah, it can be paid at discount, but it's a risk for Alabaster, Turbo Misty, then throw. Yeah, and then like Trailbound can hyper accelerate us to Misty Judgment, right? Because if we full pay for her, then she can produce 2 for Misty. But like, our stone base isn't great for white, black, red. There's a lot of good white-red stones, But then it feels like by doing so, you're missing out on white-black, which is the trickiness here, right? And the other thing about, like, Battle Wolf also has barrier still. Like, it's a toss-up. It's a toss-up. I also, here's the one thing that I want to be very clear about, too. Is that what I don't want this deck to be is just Gilgamesh Light. If that makes sense, I don't want it to be Gilgamesh Light. And there's part of me that thinks that there are ways to build it. Are all the cards from the new set. This is, because this is Paradox format, Battle Wolf of the Crimson Moon is an older card here, Maddie. Battle Wolf has always had, oh no, sorry, it doesn't have barrier. Why did I think this has barrier? It has flying. It has flying, not barrier. I'm dumb. It's flying. Battle Wolf does not have barrier. Like, I don't, Gilgamesh Dark it is. Yeah. Right. I don't just want it to be like, well, we took Gilgamesh, like we just played a Gilgamesh deck with Misteltein instead. I want it to feel differently, which is why I'm really leaning into the idea of green black or blue black white, because you can play Fragment, you can play Chrysoberyl, you can play Chrysoberyl because that's white and blue. You can play Sympathy because that's blue and black, so, right? So like you get some access there. The new stone from Ravidra. Let me look at that real quick. I know Trailbound is very good. Don't get me wrong. I think Trailbound is very, very good. Let's look at Journeys to Ravidra here. Like, if we go blue, you can play around with that new White Water Angel too. Yep, absolutely. There's a lot of things you can do with blue that I kind of really like. You also get to play Mirror. Not in Paradox. You can't play Paradox Mirror in Paradox, Robert. We're building a Paradox deck. So, but like you can play this. You can play Ophiel. You can play Triad if you're playing in this format too, which I think is very cool. Like Triad feels very good based on what your meta call is, though he might be more of a side portable card, being able to lock people out of certain things. Technically we could play Alabaster based on our stone counts. If we go Magic Stone of Remnants, Magic Stone of Chrysoberyl, that you could play like 3 Alistairs, probably, because you'd have like 4 water sources. And then you play Sympathy as well. This is just 5-color pile. just absolutely 5-color Gilgamesh pile. This is the Stone and Cushion that I'm really kind of considering. Alabastering your own God's Arded tokens. Like this card feels okay, right? It can produce white or red, right? So like if we're looking stone base wise, like pure stone base, right? Let's do, what is this? Columns of Aruk. So like Magic Stone deck, we go here. Let's throw a couple Alabasters in just for funsies. Let's do a couple 3 Triads, probably. Let's do 3 Triads. Triple Triad. Let's do let's do Courtesans, because I like Courtesans a lot. 3, because it's also a life gain spot removal. And let's do Hindered. Just 2 Hindereds, probably. I don't think we need 3 Hootriel. That feels maybe too much. 2 Alistairs. Let's do 2 Alistairs and 3 Hindereds. And we get to do Gravestone at 1. We'll do 1 Gravestone. Let's do Chrysoberyl at 2. Let's do Remnants at 2. Let's do Sympathy. Duck. And let's do Gravestone. Not Gravestone. Let's do Emerald Tablet. Magic Stone deck. I don't want to play two. I don't want to play another Remnants. You have 1 stone. We can get you more stones, Maddie. We can get you more stones. The store has plenty of basics, and we have lots of extra stones that we can hook you up with. So, like, first draft, right? This is kind of like first thoughts. Like, looking at here, it's very heavy white, and if we look at stone distribution, every single stone except for 2 produces white. That feels pretty good. We get splash of blue here, which we can cover with this. You know, the only 3 red sources makes going for Reveed, like, Cortis, like, what's her name? Very, like, this is what I'm seeing. It's, like, pretty awkward to go for her. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blue cards. Our only darkness source being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 darkness sources for the judgment of her, where we only need 1. Seems pretty good. I thought I got rid of Hootriels. What did I get rid of? I thought I decreased the number of these. I said 2 Alistairs. I still think only 2 Hootriels probably enough. But we can't search for them, so it's like, meh. Probably don't need 3 Puciels. Probably can go lower on Ishtars, just because of the fact that, like, we can search her when we judgment. Trying to think of, like, other cards that I would want to put in here. Where's the shield? This was a line that I thought needed combo banning, which is Shield of the Pious Saint. Look at how many lights. We have a bunch of light spells, but, like, none of them have a cost discount on them. I mean, some of them do. Are we utilizing the fact that she already requires Darkwill for Judgment 2 minimally in the main deck for our options? If we need Darkwill already, maybe some dark cards would prove useful. That's very true. That's very true. Maddie, I do not. I have a full play set of everything in the new set, so I'm covered there. That's a great point, Brant. Let's look at darkness cards in Paradox. Uppercut. The problem is if we play Uppercut, we have to play so many dark cards. And the other issue with Uppercut, Yo-Yo, is that we cannot answer Sealed Glyph of Infinite Loop because we do not have a rune deck. That's a problem, right? That's a little bit of an unfortunate problem. Now, I will say, if we lean a little bit heavier on white, black, red, we get to do things like Confrontation. We can do that pops things that gives us more direct spot removal. Although I think our spot removal options are, like, pretty plentiful here. It gives us access to things like that could mess with us. It gives us access to things like Epiphanic Priests, right? Which is an option. There's part of me that wonders just in Paradox if this deck just feels like it's a combination of Dark Matilda and Dark Gilgamesh, right? Because it's just like the engine kind of builds itself because of how good white is. I don't know. I'm not sold on even needing the Puciels necessarily. I think 3 Kushiel is probably pretty important for her. I like Triad because it's things that we can put bodies on. You know what? Just for the funsies, we could shift Puciel to the sideboard, and we could consider more darkness cards. So we look into things. This is a Regalia we could put into, which is interesting. Black-white cards, Symphony, Dalmir. We could be playing things like Dorian a little bit more. Certainly an option. Dorian's a pretty strong card, just in general. Like, if we don't see A good, like if we don't see Battle Wolf, then we could probably see Dorians. Probably play a few of those. We also could lean on, if we're leaning on Kushiel more, then we can lean into like Golden Bracelet, because Kushiel can put, or Hutriel can put anything. We also probably need to be playing Academy Grounds. That's true. You should play a 1/2 arms main since it's free and a reborn something if you're astral. Yeah. Probably playing at least a few Academy Grounds. Ooh, we're getting into the cutting space, right? Reborn something if you're astral. Oh, because it's a chant rune? That's true. Looking at Dark Sword of Misteltein, right? If you play a light rune card. That's the reason why I also like Hindered. Because it's a chant rune, so we can reanimate stuff, which is nice. Mono attribute light. Setting Sun in the sideboard as well. Yeah, that's why I'm also wondering if Alistair's even necessary. Like, I don't think Alistair is necessary. I can cut that out. Play another Hudriel. Let's get rid of the Dorians because they're not mono attribute white. Brosias, Mirror Blades, Battle Wolves, Envoys, Triads, Corrupted Courtesans can be reanimated, which is nice. It's a mono attribute light. Hindered, Shield of the Pious. Shield of the Pious. I don't know how I feel about this card right now. I feel like it's needed. And we can instead play things like Lifeborn. Because protective. Well, 4-wheel is a lot to play, but we would probably be getting it in off of Hutriel is the idea. Protective life forms probably an auto include. Because it's also helpful to protect against some of the, like, burn stuff. It's not banned in Wanderer. Let's take a look. We're just playing, like, so much light here. 2 Battle Wolves also just pay for it. Yeah, that's true as well. 2 Battle Wolves. I feel like my Regalia count is really low. I'm also wondering if Triad goes to the board. I mean, like, it's all white, but I don't hate it. Like, I don't know. This it's so mono white. It's just like light dot deck. But like, I look at it and I'm like, we've got dig, we've got protection, we've got interaction, we've got spot removal, we've got pressure. I don't think 3 Academy Grounds is needed. Probably 2. Probably 2 protection is probably fine. That gets us down to 40. Because also, let's see, can she search me? Glyph card and or a weapon card? Ah, that's an armor, not a weapon. That's a weapon. That's a weapon. Glyph? Do I have any glyphs in here? I want to get the most... Is this a glyph? Ah, Ambrosia's a glyph. Okay, that's good. Ooh, I actually really like this Pious Shield now because Ambrosia costs 1. I think you have enough red that you should consider Mistress over Wolves as a safer dork. That's fair. I only have... I have 5 with 5 red sources. Yeah, that's probably true. That's probably true. I didn't think about that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Get rid of the Battle Wolves. Mirror Blade's in there. We got 3. Card's pretty bonkers. 50% chance on turn 1 to hit red. I don't hate that. We have 5 black sources for Judgment with only 2 cards that care about black. 5 red sources for Mistress, who's our only red card. 6 water sources for a grand total of 3 water cards in the main. And then only 2 non-white sources. I worry about hitting back-to-back here. I think I'm going to play a third Sacred Column, I think. I think a third Sacred Column is probably correct, and then just 1 Sympathy. So that I only have 1 non-light source. It's 40 cards. It's got good pressure. Do we only play 2 Lunar Protective? And find room for 2 of the 3-drop lady? I don't hate that idea. Column is very good. It's also a body, right? Yeah, I probably don't need it. Probably don't need the 3-drop untouchable lady. Hey, Mr. Carlilios. Thank you so much. You were the guy who commented on the videos who played Lilius Petal 10 years ago and wanted to catch the game again. Thanks you for all the responses. Absolutely. Lilius Petal's my favorite. It's not like I have my current most active Lilius deck already on here. Where is it? Where are you? Here you are. Lilius Petal, my boy. I have this deck currently sleeved up, and boy howdy does it feel so good to play right now in Wanderer format. I love this deck so much. This deck is great. It feels good. It feels good to play, my boy. Share the link, my guy. Of course. Of course. Here is my list. There it is. It is a public list, right? I think I have this list as being public. Let's see. Yeah, it's public. Yeah. I love this list so much. It's so good. It's like everything I want it to be for Fox. You are most welcome. You are most welcome. Yeah, and like if we like you said, if we whiff white on 1, we have the Mistress for red. Yeah, that gives us our white. This feels pretty. Oh wait, yeah, this feels pretty good. This feels pretty good. We've got Regalia spot removal to deal with the mirror. We've got life gain to be able to buffer ourselves up. We've got spot removal and card draw. We've got defensiveness. We've got pressure. No little fox or that ugly monkey. Trust me, you don't need them. We're gonna quickly jump over to the Fox apologetic stream. I'd like to introduce you to Chubby Five-Tailed Fox. This is Long Tony, colloquially named. This guy is everything Fox wanted as a engine enabler. And then I'd also invite you to Val Raven, the new Chimera, who is everything we wanted to. The other thing that has fully replaced that engine of the monkey and everything else with the little fox is Reika. This card is insanely good for Fox. It completely replaced his entire value advantage engine. Yeah. Reika is insanely good. I love this card so much. Also keeps the deck being very hyper competitive. Currently being able to just be Fox fodder by continually recycling her self-edge shade is amazing. It's very, very cool. Okay. I don't know. I like this. I'm trying to think here. Going back to this one. Mr. Carlilius, please feel free to join our Discord server if you have not already. Let me drop a link to it real quick. Let me get a link to our server here. If you have not, please feel free to hop in and join us over on our server anytime. More than welcome to talk to us about all this kind of jazz. I live and breathe this card game, as evidenced by a lot of things that you see in my background and the fact that I'm still making content for it. Stay focused. Don't let. You're right. Sorry, Yo-Yo. I do need to stay focused. I've got 15 minutes left. Okay. Let's talk about Paradox. Let's talk about... No, you're fine. You're fine. Let's talk about Paradox in general. Things that we expect to kind of be in existence. We've got Boost Burn combos, which I feel like we've got some good potential outs to that. Lunar Protective, I'll admit, I'm a little scared about the fact that there will be hindered magic duels. Cards that I wish I could find room to put in here, given that I think they probably live in the sideboard, specifically for if we're going second. We're building a sideboard too. I think specifically these are being sideboarded for if we're going second, which is my good friend. Oh, there it is. One hit KO anesthesia. I think this is going sideboard for sure. Probably 4 copies. What pressure tools does this list currently use? Obviously, there's Misty and Mirror Blade. Anything else? Are we hoping that these interactions get there? I think it's a matter of like combat tricks, right? Gungnir can blow everything up. Ishtar is our alt win con, right? That feels pretty good. Lunar Protective, weirdly enough, can be a 3-cost win con. Because it removes target non-golem resonator from battle, so it can remove a blocker. I think. Wait. Actually, I need to double check that. Hold on. Let's go back. Hold on. Did they update Lunar Protective's text? Hold on. No, go to the card. I have so many tabs open. Hold on. There was the errata for Lunar Protective. Attacking or blocking. Right, so I was right. So, yeah, Mistress and Column. Sorry, this is Vox again. Mistress and Column provide a lot of pressure because they can get attached with stuff. So then they just get to beat things to death, which is usually pretty good. Because it becomes a resonator with Defiant too until the end of the turn. That seems pretty good. Defiant is indeed a crazy keyword. So is Nomadic Trailbound's Mistress. Both is Defiant, so like these can be aggressive. And again, our life total is like Mirror Blade. Like that's huge. We can make bodies with Hootriel. Hootriel himself can Judgment to like be an end clear if we need to. Like I do like this idea of like if the game really gets that long, resolving the God's Art of Misteltein and then also like getting the ult of Hootriel off the board, and then you're just like, cool, 3 bodies, 3 bodies, 3 bodies, 3 bodies, 3 bodies, 3 bodies. Like you do have an end game if we're playing to that slot. There's the alt win con in Ishtar, in Nana. I wish I could play Light Lightning, but I can't, so that's okay. Let's see. Okay. Sideboard, I don't think we need these ladies. Demon Slayers, I do like Engraved Rune. I don't need another Lunar Protective. POCs seem fine. One hit KOs for if we're going second. Triads, I think, based on the matchup, I think are very relevant. Cause like you can kind of like snipe what a known matchup is going to be. If a plus or negative counter gets placed on the stone, does it get removed? Nope. Those counters will stay there, meaning that when it reanimates again, it will become a 7/7 and then have the plus and minus applied to it. Those cards, those texts stay there. I do want to look at white runes in Paradox. Spectator is not Paradox legal. The only outside the game card that's legal in Paradox right now is Engraved Rune. Oh, and Fire Pit Trap. Let's look at this card. I want to look at this card real quick. Prevent all damage that will be dealt by sources that share a name with the named card, and you gained barrier the named card. Armor or weapon regalia you control with bestow, gain, tap, bestow. Bestow, tap. Glyph of Rejections, God's Art works with Misty. I do, yeah. I do think this is sideboardable. It's, again, it forms a similar vein as, like, as Triad a little bit. I could see quadruple draw, maybe. Not sold on it. Legend got reprinted? Oh, yeah. Two Arms already talked about. Velmar's Blessing, no. Courage. I mean, we can't play pure runes. We don't have any space for them. I could see shared bonds. This feels unnecessary. Although it is reanimating and then more spot removal, so maybe this is worth my time. Let's take a look at this. Chain rulers you control with divinity gain divinity +2. Irrelevant. Cost me 1 less if you control a regalia with bestow. Tap white or red. Reanimate a thing and remove up to 1 thing. Remove target non-light, non-fire. 3 or more. Total cost 3 or more from the game. That feels unnecessary. That's not good. I could see playing a couple quadruple draws. Not this, in the sideboard. I mean, this sideboard feels pretty good. Oh, the most mono white deck I've ever seen. Feels like we've got answers, we've got threats, we've got life gain, we've got card draw, we've got ramp, we've got pressure, we've got end game, we've got early game, we've got mid game. Like, the only thing I wish this deck had was precision. I know that that's silly, but I really wish we had a way to give this something in this deck precision. Nope, that it requires runes. This. The thing where it forces, but that still targets. I want specifically precision. I just like precision right now as a keyword. I think there's some really good things that it does. Don't do enough with +1/+1 counters. Replicant Scarlet. This might be worth playing in the board. 10-2 with precision and swiftness and pierce. Kills. Kills a lot of stuff. Rusty. No thanks on Rusty. Cecilia. Are we playing Cecilia's? Thinking about these Cecilias. Really hesitating on these Cecilias. Could kill a token generated by. There's a lot of tokens. There's just a lot of tokens in this format right now. A lot of token generation. Might be better than quadruple swordsman. Thanks, Maddie. Thanks for swinging by. See you when you get back as well. I might be there on Friday for Lorcana, by the way. So we'll see. I don't know. I might just be trying to cram too much in. This is helpful against quite a few things that target players. Grave Room, PCL. 1 hit KOs for the sideboard. Purely if we're going second. These cards come in if we're going second and we're playing against Gilgamesh. That's like the whole game. Because this card is just, we have a black will coin and we can use it. Yo, you still here? It feels like we built a deck. It doesn't feel just like Gilgamesh Go. This feels very Misteltein coded. I mean, there's just so much that we could do with her if there was Force Resonance Faith, but we can't. Right? We just can't. So, like, anything we do with her in Paradox is probably just going to feel very similar to Gilgamesh. Her having a black coin could be very good, though. Protection of the Academy grounds used to shut off opponents' sacred columns. Yeah, I think. Sorry, I'm gonna vibe with my music for a little bit here. Yeah, this to me feels like we've built something good. I think three Ambrosia is right. Hard to say anything about testing. Yeah, for sure. 100%. 100% understand that. Yeah, nothing with that resonance was reprinted in the set. But she is a Wanderer by design, so like very much keyed into playing in the Wanderer format. There's a lot more fun you can do. But we try to show off every ruler's first pass. Every ruler's first pass for the channel moving forward. We attempt to do it as Paradox rather than Wanderer. So about 33% chance of opening with an Ambrosia with current numbers. I think it's probably fine. I think that's probably enough. I don't think we want to play 4. It having Mythic, I think, makes it not ever want to play 4. Calling a Magic Stone does not cause J rulers you control to rest. That seems just really good for Misty. Yeah, I like this deck. This feels like a solid deck. I will put the link to it in the chat. Well, thank you all so much for joining me here tonight. This has been a very fun stream. It's just been me. We'll see if we end up doing a stream later this week. Or next week before pre-release. Or before... yoink! See if we end up doing a stream before New Year's. We might not. We'll see how it goes. In terms of housekeeping for this week, don't forget to this Wednesday is Christmas Eve, but we will have Guess the Rework episode 2 that is going to be posted, so you can see that, and hopefully I will actually remember to get us caught up on deck profiles going into this week, so that we can get caught up as we leave into it. And then I might, like I said, might try to put together a feature match for next week, which would be Lilith Kael'th versus Gilgamesh, but we got to get it filmed first, so we'll see how that goes. What do I think of the card Skull of Varkuzal? Skull of Varkuzal. Doesn't have an image for some reason, but we have the card in here. Untouchable, mana counter of your choice, ruler or sub-ruler, produce one will of an attribute shared, pay 400, recover a non-magic non-ruler at the end of the turn. It's weirdly, it's you control. I think it's okay. I think it's like a paradox. I think it's probably like more of a cube or draft card than a main deck constructible card. That's my thought. But yes, there we go. Go ahead. Turn 2 Judgment for her is nice. Totally possible if we play if we hit a black-white stone, or if we hit like, if we hit Ambrosia and we hit Fragment and we hit Trailbound Mistress, then we can Judgment her on 2. That seems very threatening. But that is it for us today. Again, if you like what we're doing, want to consider supporting the channel, considering clicking that join button down below. It's the easiest way to join the channel as a member. You get access to all kinds of cool perks, and it goes to support the channel in what we do. And you can get orders in for the new set. Odyssey Games still has stock, so does TCG Prime. You can check those out in the link in the description. And if you haven't gotten your store to order the new circuit kit for Q1 of 2026, what are you doing? What are you doing? Get that circuit kit. Those orders are only going to be happening through January 7th before we place that kit order, so you're not going to want to miss it. Only 2 kits left before FowFest, so this is like one of your few opportunities to get prize wall points, and you are not going to want to miss the prize wall at FowFest this year. So thank you all so much for joining me tonight. This has been a wonderful stream. We'll be back with the rest of the crew soon. And until next time, this is DMO73 saying Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. Class is dismissed. Bye, everybody.